Hey everybody, Rachel Michaelov here from Empire Tax Professionals. I'm the CEO of Empire Tax Professionals, and I'm also a licensed enrolled agent. I'm licensed by the IRS, and today I just wanted to share quick tax tips to help a lot of business owners and individuals since tax season is literally right around the corner. So tax season, we are actually allowed to e-file tax returns on February 12th. So you want to make sure that you have all of your tax documents by then. And especially if you're a business owner, you really want to make sure that you're collecting all of your income, expenses, and you have all of the data so you can file your tax returns on time. I actually checked my mail and I got a lot of tax documents in the mail. So you're going to see, important tax return documents enclosed. I got my, 1099 interest documents. I got my mortgage document this week. I also got, retirement information. So you're going to start gathering and getting a lot of documents in the mail that would be really vital for you to file your individual tax returns. Again, so for individual tax returns, you're going to start getting W-2s, 1099 forms, 1099 interest forms. If you were self-employed, you're going to start gathering 1099 documents showing exactly how much you earned for the entire year. And you would also need to start gathering your expenses for the entire year, such as your phone bill, your internet, the rent, a portion of your home office if you were working from home due to COVID, real estate taxes, but that's for personal residence. That would go for Schedule A. Real estate taxes, mortgage documents, charitable contributions is a huge thing. If you did pay charitable contributions, you want to make sure that you have a list of charitable organizations that you paid, how much you paid. You need to have a backup for that as well. And just start gathering all of the information, because before you file your tax returns, you're going to be in the gathering stage, and you want to make sure that you have all of the info so you can file a complete tax return. And the ultimate goal is obviously for you to reduce the risks of audit, which means that you want to make sure that you're including every single expense possible, right? You also want to make sure that you're adding your daycare expenses. So if you have children, you want to make sure that you have the tax ID number, the name of the daycare. If it's an individual, you want to know the individual's full name, or if it's a corporation, you would need their corporation name and tax ID number. If it's a individual, you would need, their full name and their social and their address of where they worked, and the amount of money that you paid for each child. It has to be really specific for each child. So start gathering all that information. You want to make sure you have that so you can file your individual returns. Now, for corporations, right now is the perfect time for you to gather all of your numbers. Go through January 1st up until December 31st. Gather all of your income, gather all of your expenses, so you have all of the expenses that you are able to deduct. Again, like I mentioned before, because I see a few people coming on, make sure that you have what you paid in total for your phone bill, your internet, rent, any office supplies that you had. You really want to gather all of your expenses so you can reduce your liability legally. Nobody wants to pay more than they have to. And the only way that you can reduce your taxes is by having the specific expenses and documenting it, gathering it, and making sure you give it over to the accountant so they can deduct it on your tax return at the end of the year. Okay. So again, if you're an individual, start gathering your W-2s, 1099s, charitable contributions, real estate taxes, mortgage documents. If the bank sold your loan to someone else, you would get several different mortgage documents. So 1098 is what you need. Make sure you give the accountant your real estate taxes as well for the entire year. You would need that. And then, as many of you know, corporate returns are due March 15th, but don't wait to file last minute. You do get a $195 fine for every single owner, times the amount of months that you're late. It's always best for you to file on time, and now is the perfect time to file, okay? Again, individual returns are due April 15th. And start, do everything you can so you can file on time and get your taxes. And it's just a really stressful time when you do everything last minute. And I hate doing things very last minute. I'm more like proactive. You want to make sure that every single thing is documented. And then as you do things, some things come to you, right? So let's say I start gathering, my charitable contributions, and I have a bunch of them so far. But, every day you may say, oh, I just donated something to, $50 to this, 501c3 charitable contribution. And you may just things come to you, and it just takes time. It does take a lot of time for you to go back through all of your corporate statements, all of your personal statements. And it's, sometimes businesses, they work every single day and they may make $1,000 extra or $2,000 extra. But if you really have a solid bookkeeping process and you are able to deduct every single expense possible, then that's like working, because you're reducing your taxable liability, and you're also reducing additional time in the future. If you ever get audited, you just have that backup immediately, and you just have that peace of mind. And peace of mind is everything nowadays. You don't want to just, rush and prepare the returns immediately, and then the IRS may ask you for backup. Nobody wants that. Be prepared, do things in advance, have enough time, document everything on your personal and your business. And if you have proper accountants, they should actually hold the backup for you, because we have a secure portal. Everything gets uploaded on the, in the secure portal for years. So you just want to make sure that you have solid accountants that are behind you, that are making sure that you are getting every single deduction possible, and you're having a consultation with them so they can help you reduce your taxable liability legally. That is the end goal. Especially during COVID times, a lot of businesses were hit, and they want to make sure that they're getting every single legal possible deduction. You also want to look into, COVID relief loan options. There are a lot of options out there. I did a video on that before. SBA options, EIDL options, PPP. We actually did a webinar on that. If you want to know, or if you actually want the replay of the webinar where I go over details on how you can get the EIDL, PPP1, and then PPP2, and what you need to do, or what you need to use the funds for to get it 100% forgivable, then you should definitely watch that live or PM me, and I'm going to give you that replay. Okay, so that's about it. I mean, start gathering your tax documents, file early so you can reduce your fines and get your refunds faster. Make sure, again, like I mentioned, charitable contributions, your daycare, because there are a lot of people that, some of their returns are being on hold because we need the actual number. The IRS does not allow any estimates. You would need to go back to your bank statements and calculate how much you paid to each daycare and for which child. If you have multiple children, you need to say, okay, Michael, I paid $3,000. Jessica, you paid $4,000. And to which institution, because the IRS is going to want that. You want to make sure that you have, real estate records. So if you have a rental property and you're collecting rental income, the mortgage interest goes on a separate form. So you would need to collect rental income, mortgage against the rental property, real estate taxes against the rental property, any home improvements or anything that you did in order for you to sell that property, or in order for you to make it, available for rent, and other things. It does get a little bit complex when you have a rental property because there is depreciation involved. But when you work with a professional, you explain to them exactly what your situation is, and they would be able to ask you specific questions that can help you make sure that you're deducting every single possible deduction. Again, everybody, now it's the time where you're going to start gathering a lot of tax documents. I got my interest in the mail. This is what you're going to be getting. Mortgage documents, and you may need to log in and gather some tax documents, such as your unemployment insurance, your unemployment income. Make sure that you're going to get the 1099-G, because unemployment is it's taxable, and you need to report it. Now, a lot of times they don't mail you the 1099-G, but you would need to log into Department of Labor's website and actually download it. So don't file your returns without the 1099-G. If you did collect unemployment, make sure you gather that, and trust me, you have a much higher risk to get audited if you forget one tax form. So sometimes it's easier to file later. Make sure you have everything, and then review your prior year return to make sure you didn't miss anything. Because sometimes the prior year return may give you some clues, and they'll say, okay, last year you had daycare, last year your mortgage interest was, let's say, $20,000. This year it should be roughly the same. Last year your income was X, Y, and Z, 100,000, let's say. This year it should be the same unless you got laid off or you quit your job and other things. The prior year returns we always ask for just so we could make sure that there is consistency and we could compare it, because you may get a 1099 interest from TD Bank for $10, and a lot of times you don't get that in the mail because it's less than $10, and that would need to be included on the tax return. But if you miss that, the IRS may say, oh, you forgot that, and then you forgot the unemployment income, and you forgot additional things. Now let's audit the return to see what else was forgotten on the tax return. And you just don't want to, you want to make sure that you're including everything so it's complete. There are no amendments that must be done. You are getting the refund that you deserve, or even if you owe, you know exactly how much you owe and you have enough time to make that payment. So let's say we file your returns today and I say, hey, you owe, $20,000 to the IRS and $10,000 to the state. What you do is at least you have enough time up to April 15th, that payment is due, even if you file your returns today. So even if you file your returns February 12th or March 1st, you want to file as early as possible so you know what your taxable liability is. You don't want to know a week before the deadline that you have a taxable liability. And anything after April 15th, you're going to start paying, interest and penalties, and you're going to start getting notices. And it's just so much harder to get on track with the IRS, especially because of COVID. Everything is so behind. They're so behind. They're backed up by a few weeks, probably a few months already. And you just want to make sure that you have your finances 100% in order. It is so important to get your finances on track, in order, on time, because once it's so much harder to catch up, and you don't want to do that, okay? Finances is one of the most important things that every single business owner and individual should focus on if you want to build wealth, and every single day makes such a big difference. So if you have any specific questions, let me know what your questions are. I see a lot of people joining. Again, I'm licensed by the IRS. I'm a licensed enrolled agent. I'm licensed in 50 states. And we can definitely help you with whatever you need: bookkeeping, payroll, sales tax, corporate returns, IRS and state audits, whatever you need, just let us know. And we're also helping business owners with, the PPP loans, the SBA loans, and just feel free to ask us any questions. Thank you all for watching, and, have a beautiful weekend. Thank you guys. Bye.